take some questions for our three speakers. I think I know where Sharonann is. Please. Maybe I have a question while people are thinking. Oh, I see a question there. Please go ahead. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Sharonann. I'm from the Netherlands. I was wondering, we're talking a lot about how to cut budgets and treatment, but I was wondering if there are also ideas about prevention methods. I've heard a lot about comprehensive sexuality education at this conference, and I think it will be very important to include that in schools in these areas that are now affected a lot by the HIV population. So education that's at schools and that's integrated in schools and that's inclusive and that doesn't promote abstinence as the only way of protecting.
I don't know if you'd like to comment on the importance of education and the investments by the education sector in maybe in trying to advance some of the issues around HIV prevention and sexual health. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I can certainly comment from the Zimbabwe perspectives. Our literacy rate is above 90%, and this contributes significantly to how our population responds to messages that we have to pass out there in terms of HIV and AIDS. Comprehensive sexual education is incorporated to the Ministry of Education, primary and secondary education to capture them young. So these are part of the strategies that are incorporated in the overall response. Thank you.
If there are no other questions, I'll ask a question. It looks to me like in Zimbabwe you started the planning very early. I don't remember which year you started thinking about this. It was
2010 for our health sector investment case, but 1999 for the AIDS Trust Fund. Yes.
And the AIDS levy. So I think it's, I guess what I'm hearing is that, and from the presentation, both from Central Asia as well as some of the others, the Uganda example is the need to really have lead time to be able to put into place the systems and the options that are needed for successful transition. And you were getting at that also, Sharonann, with your thinking in terms of giving time and planning and thinking about the repercussions and the implications and so on. So I don't know how long the ideal time would be, but it certainly requires substantial planning. So, good.
Can I comment?
Yes, of course.
Thank you, sir. In addition to planning, I didn't get through my slides, but there needs to be some policy changes. And there's got to be some hard thinking because, just as HIV illuminated and magnified for us, the existing inequalities and areas of discrimination, especially in the states where David and I were fighting HIV, him earlier on, me later. The transitioning has exposed the weaknesses that were always there in some of the health systems. And so once you transition back procurement power to countries with a history of corruption, say, or lack of transparency, or small markets, or inability or unwillingness to negotiate lower prices, then I don't know what we expect to see. So in Kyrgyzstan, for example, they pay 38 times the price for dolutegravir. So it's a question of how much time and what set of incentives should there be in order to encourage both countries to do the right thing. And we have some ideas about that in terms of a country should have the choice of choosing or not to tap that global market as opposed to just doing the competitive bidding process.
Do you have any comments, Anna, or
I do have only one quick comment. I think it also differs between countries where HIV is considered a big problem versus, for example, Central Asia, where HIV is not in top 10 priorities for health. And it's very easy for the Ministry of Health to misunderstand the importance and to cut it out of their program and really not prioritize it in terms of funding. So I think we need sort of differentiated approach to how we talk to countries and how we ensure that they prioritize HIV work to avoid the explosion of the epidemic.
That's great. And it sounds like, from what Sharonann was saying, is that there needs to be very deep and systematic analysis of the implications and also the appropriate planning and options that are available to different countries. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Well, I want to say thank you to all of our speakers, very interesting perspectives and diversity of perspectives, but I also want to thank the audience for your perseverance and for your tolerance of this tropical heat wave that we're all experiencing. I think it demonstrates interest in the topic, and I think a lot of food for thought for all of us as we move forward to hopefully try to collectively reach our goals. So thank you all and have a good evening. Thank you.